it, DJ.
Over the past few days, I've been seeing so many people talking about this Aespa performance on Good Morning America, right? And I wanted to see what was really so bad about it. Was it the bad camera angles? Was it the bad stage presence? Or was it really just bad choreo, right? Growing up listening to K-pop, I feel like I've seen so many K-pop groups try to make it in the US, but they always fail for so many different reasons. But I feel like one of those reasons is because when they get on the stage in the US, it's not the same as in Korea, right? I feel like a lot of things are missing and they end up not being able to bring that essence from Korea to the US. I've talked about this quite a few times on my TikTok, but a couple of days ago, I made a video talking about the whole Aespa Good Morning America situation, and I feel like a really interesting conversation came out of it, and I wanted to dig deep into that. One of the first comments that I saw was somebody saying that you really can't blame the bad camera angles because we get so many single shot like dance practice videos, and they're usually pretty good, right? Comment is making it seem like a good camera angle isn't important, right? As a person who makes content on the internet, I can tell you a good camera angle can do wonders for you, right? And even when we're watching these dance practice videos, a lot of them have a really good camera angle. They're just not changing angles every 2 seconds. They're shot in a certain way that showcases the idol or showcases the dancing, but doesn't make them look really bad. And I feel it's really important to mention. The reason as to why these dance practices look so good is because there's somebody on staff who's putting that camera in a good place to make all the idols look good. I was actually on Twitter earlier today and somebody brought up the whole, I think it was Blackpink, how you like that. And it was like the performance video or whatever, right? And my thing is I feel like people forget that they manipulate things to make things look different, right? Something like cropping all the outside space to focus in on Blackpink makes the performance like a whole lot different, right? It's making it look like, oh, they can fill up a screen, they can fill it up, right? So it's little things like that. And I feel like we also forget that there were backup dancers while they were performing the song in Korea versus in America. It was just the four girls by themselves. So you have this really awkward camera angle that Good Morning America is doing, plus no backup dancers. It's gonna look very bad. It's also incredibly important to mention that the filming styles of Americans versus Koreans is incredibly different, right? I think it's also incredibly important to mention that the filming styles in America versus Korea are incredibly different, right? I can't think of any groups in America who are performing the way that a K-pop idol is, right, except for Cat's Eye. But other than that, who is performing like that to where you need to have all these sharp angles that change every 2 seconds, right? And I feel like it's also important to mention that in South Korea, they're kind of trained on doing this, right? They're very used to having groups perform this way. I mean, we're having over an hour-long programs of just different groups performing where they get used to these cuts, and these programs happen weekly, right? You're seeing these groups almost every single day when they're promoting, right? Versus in the US, you're not really getting that, right? And I feel like the performances that we do get in the US, they're incredibly different from K-pop ones, right? I'm thinking like the Tate McRae's, they don't really change angles the way that K-pop groups do. So there are so many little things that kind of go into why I feel like they come off differently, right? But I feel like overall, a lot of these K-pop groups are not really prepared for going on American TV because it is incredibly different. I just keep thinking about what happened in Produce 48, where you had these trained Japanese idols and these Korean trainees, and these Japanese idols could not get to the program what was going on in K-pop because it's very different. Where you're looking at the camera, you're doing things that's incredibly differently versus in Japan where you're trying to connect with the person, right? I just keep thinking about that because even though Japan and Korea are next to each other and their cultures are a lot more similar than Korea to the US, those idols, when they go over to another country to try to promote or try to do things right, they still have to do it a little bit differently. So my thing is, why are we expecting the K-pop package to work in the US when I don't think it's really gonna work, right? And I've been seeing quite a few comments of people saying that, oh, Aespa themselves, they just have bad stage presence, which is a very common narrative. I'm not really a big fan of Aespa, but I did watch some of the performances and I was not the biggest fan of the performing. I do like some of the songs, but do I feel like I was moved? Was I like, oh, well, I love this? Not necessarily. And I think that's a really big issue. And when I did go watch that Good Morning American performance, I looked and I realized I wasn't seeing any American commenters. I wasn't seeing any English comments at all. They were straight down Korean. I said, oh my God, the candidates have found this, and I translated, they were flaming them, y'all. They were flaming Aespa. It was looking really bad for them. Coming from SM, coming from a company that's been able to, change and shift the K-pop culture, it is quite crazy that so many people look at your group and they're like, it's not giving, babes. You gotta log in and do something, but apparently this has always been a thing with Aespa. I didn't know that. Now that I look at some of the comments, I feel like a lot of people didn't really agree about what I said about good camera angles, which I think good camera angles are a necessity when you're watching a performance digitally, right? I think a performance should look good good in person and digitally, right? When you're watching on YouTube or on your phone or whatever. But what is very fascinating is a lot of people are saying that it should be a plus. I don't think a good angle should be a plus. I think it should be a necessity to have a good viewing experience when you are not present, right? I don't know if that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I think too much about the staging or whatever. I don't know. But I'm like, why are we dissing good camera angles when we get good camera angles all the time? I don't know. As a person who makes content, I just know what a good camera angle could do, how transformative it could be. When you see bad camera angles, it makes you love a good camera angle, right? When I was watching Cat's Eye's performance on the VMAs, it really irritated me that when they were starting, why was the angle so low, elongating them, making the performance look off? I didn't like that. And then there was one part where they filmed them from the side, and despite the fact that they were from the side, they weren't centered, so it just looked crazy, like they were all going into like the right side of the screen while the left part was empty. That just didn't look good, and that can affect how performance looks. Why are we acting like good angles don't matter? I'm so sorry, I just can't with y'all. I've seen some really bad angles on American TV, and it does make you like rethink a lot about like a good camera angle, y'all. And I've seen bad angles and they weren't even like K-pop idols, right? They were like American artists and it looked horrible, right? So I'm like, please appreciate a good camera angle. Let's not say it doesn't matter or that it's just an extra. No, it's a necessity, okay? It's very easy to hide bad stage presence behind backup dancers and angles that cut every 3 seconds, right? I feel like SM low-key set up these girls because ain't no way you saw this performance with these 4 girls said, that's it. They are filling up that stage. But also the stages in the US do be looking kind of funny. Like look at M Countdown and then look at Good Morning America. It's not giving the same at all because M Countdown is meant for artists to perform on it weekly. Good Morning America, they don't do that often, right? And if they do, they're usually doing people who like sing with like minimal dance. I've been seeing so many people say that the song doesn't sound good, and it's like, dang, they don't like the song, they don't like the dance, they don't like nothing. These girls are really going through a hatred era right now, y'all. Honestly, I'm not really a big fan of the dance or the song, so I do understand. I saw an interesting comment of somebody saying when you don't like the song or the dance, then it makes you look into things and realize what they're giving isn't really giving. And I was like, wait a second, that's kind of true, right? Because when you don't like what you're hearing or what you're saying, and now you have to like go off of is it actually good or not, right? You're not blinded by you liking it, right? Okay, another comment was somebody saying that we don't need good stage presence, we just need good choreo, right? And I feel like when you have bad choreo plus bad stage presence, it does make the performance not look good at all, right? And it really can't work that well. But saying to not have good stage presence is kind of crazy because it's like part of their craft, that's part of their job, that's what they need to have. If they don't have good stage presence, what are they really doing, right? Like they're just awkwardly just performing. And of course they're like pretty, but like when everybody is now having pretty idols in their group, then what else are you going to be looking at, right? And it's going to be the talent, and you got to have the talent and the looks, right? You can't just have one or the other in the industry, unfortunately, right? Well, I mean, I guess for them, according to the comments, because I ain't trying to get no hate for how people are feeling, right? But they got the looks, but they don't got the work. They don't got the work ethic. They don't got the grit. And even if they had good choreo and bad stage presence, that still wouldn't really be selling it that well, right? I mean, it can get them far, but could it really get them like that far? Could it really do them justice if they're not doing that great on stage, right? And I'm just really confused on how they're SM idols and a lot of people are just seeing them to not have any good stage presence, right? That's just really interesting to me. And I saw a Korean comment of somebody saying they need to stop trying to get into the US. And you know what? I agree. All K-pop groups don't need to go to the US. All of them don't need American camera angles, don't need to go on this and that. It's okay to stay in Korea or to skip the US. Like, it's perfectly fine, right? Like, y'all just gonna come here, try, it's not gonna work, and then y'all are gonna leave. I'm getting kind of tired of that cycle. Like, at this point, like, just don't even try to come at this point. I'm so sorry, like, because you're wasting your time and you're wasting money, right? You're not really doing anything, you're not really getting any active footing. You're just coming here to say you came here and then dipping. But let's be for real, like, is that gonna help you? No. So what do you think it is? Is it bad choreo, bad camera angles, or bad stage presence? I still think it's all three, right? I'm still leading on it's mostly bad camera angles. Well, maybe not mostly, but I think it's still a big part, right? I think a little bit of it has to do with the stage presence, but a lot of it also has to do with the bad moves, the bad dance moves. If people are saying your moves aren't looking that good when you're in Korea, when you leave, what are they gonna say? Oh, it was great? No, and especially because of the way the camera angles are working in America, bad moves plus bad angles equals just bad situation, right? And then you can't hide behind what's going on in Korea, right? So then you see that stage presence is like kind of lacking and it's kind of awkward. And so it's like, ugh, oof, what are we doing, right? But no shade to Aespa. Hopefully y'all have a great future, right? If they release a banger, I'm gonna listen to it, okay? I'm not allergic to a good song, okay? But yeah, this is all I had to say for this video. And oh my god, I was looking struggling while I was talking. I don't know why. Go to the TikTok if it's still there. If you're not in the US, you still probably can go watch it. Go to the YouTube, go to the Insta, go to the Twitter, go to the everything, right? But don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment all that stuff that YouTubers say to do, okay? But yeah, y'all have a good one. Bye.